Oof. Oof. All right. Y'all see the title. Y'all know what it is, man. I'm not even going to drag this out because the last video was long, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. Transfers, rumors. Y'all love it. We back. Let's do it. Now, just before we get into everything real quick, I need y'all to take a look at these numbers, man, because this is a little tough, man. I'm trying to make it happen. I'm trying to build this channel up, and I need your guys' help, man. I need the support. Hit that button, hit the like button as well. Share the video with the homie. I appreciate every single one of y'all that are liking, commenting, even just watching, man. But if y'all could go ahead and hit that sub, I'd really appreciate it. So thank you, man. Let's get into it. So in the last video, one of the big topics that I covered was the Saudi Pro League and some of the big rumors and big names that had already gone over there, but that was then and this is now, and a lot has already happened since then. There's been a lot of money moving around. So let's just go ahead and get into all that. So we're going to start with easily one of the weirdest transfers of the summer, and something that I think shocked a lot of fans is Ruben Neves going over to the Pro League, which, I mean, for me, this is definitely one of the ones that kind of scares me. You know, it's these younger players who still have a lot to offer, could have still potentially gone on to play for some of the bigger clubs in Europe, and just kind of leaving all that behind for a check. I mean, I'm not going to hold that against Neves himself or any of the other individual players, because I get it. You're trying to take care of your family. You know, you put in all this work. That part of it I totally understand, but just this climate we're getting into of these players being so easily kind of swayed away, it's scary for me. And I definitely think that the economic stability of these big clubs around Europe, whether that be Barcelona or some of the Italian clubs, you know, like some of these traditionally big teams, they just don't have the checkbook right now to compete. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a traditionalist, but I worry about that. I do. And another kind of similar one to that is Jota going from Celtic over to the Pro League, which this is a player that, you know, I'm sure some of you guys, when I said Jota, probably thought I was talking about Diogo from Liverpool. No, and it's different Jota. This guy's another really talented mid-20s, I think he's like 24, so honestly a really young, talented winger who, again, was linked with some pretty big moves at some point and was doing really well in the Scottish League, but the money, I don't know, it's insane, man. And so this was a player that I was personally excited to see where he moved on to this summer, and now I'm not really sure how to feel about it. So that's just another one of those weird ones. These are those signings that do kind of worry me a bit when it comes to the Pro League and the impact that it might be having on the game. Now, it wasn't just Portuguese players in their mid-20s that were heading over there. There's been some of those older guys, some of those guys that you kind of expect to be going to a league like this. We got Marcelo Brozovic, Koulibaly, Edouard Mendy, and Roberto Firmino, which honestly, not a single one of those is surprising at all. These are all players who have been kind of on the downtrend over the last season or two with their clubs. Kind of can tell that they're not quite at that elite level anymore, and so taking one last payday, again, more power to them. Congrats to them for being able to cash out like that. That is a beautiful thing to see, but at the same time, it scares me with those younger guys. So for these older guys, cool, do your thing, get your cash. I have no problem with that, because that's always kind of happened throughout the history of the game. But I don't know, this whole Saudi thing is wild. I might have to end up just making a whole video on it, because I keep on ranting about it in these. But yeah, it's a lot, man. It's weird. It's super weird. So getting into some more confirmed signings, we got Kim Min-jae going to Bayern. Now, I actually meant to cover this in the last video because it was basically done at that point, but it's like fully confirmed now. He's a Bayern player. I'm bummed that United missed out on it, but at the same time, I understand that we have different priorities going into this summer, and so I'm not necessarily too worried about us spending all that money on a center back when we just bought Mount. Looks like we might be in for another midfielder potentially and a goalkeeper, so at this point, you know, maybe not spending that much on a center back might long-term be the smarter play, but this is a really talented player going to obviously one of the best teams in Europe, so great signing for Bayern, great signing for Kim Min-jae personally as a player, and yeah, all around, just a good deal. And another one that I actually kind of meant to cover in the previous video, but it just slipped my mind, was Christopher Nkunku, and that's because this deal has actually been like low-key done for months. I remember it being reported by Fabrizio genuinely like in the middle of the season at some point that he was going to Chelsea, and that is now confirmed. That is now a done deal. Nkunku is a Chelsea player, and the only reason I'm really bringing it up now is because he's such a quality player. Like, I genuinely think this is one of the signings of the summer, and I think he's gonna rip the Premier League up. I think he's gonna be probably one of Chelsea's best players this season, and great Havertz replacement. So I think that's really good business by Chelsea, and again, this chaotic transfer window might actually kind of be working out for him. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But it's a very, very, very good signing. Nkunku, Great player, great player. Hate that he went to Chelsea. Jeez. Speaking of a player that I can't stand the fact of where they ended up, but I'm a big fan of them personally, is Dominic Szoboszlai. So obviously, if you see him, I need to just stop explaining it. I think you guys could get the idea by now. I'm a Man United fan. But anyways, Szoboszlai has been one of my favorite young prospects since he made his move to Leipzig. This guy is just so gifted technically. The way he strikes the ball, his long shots, his free kicks, one-on-one situations, he's so dangerous. And I just love watching this guy, and I'm bummed that he went to one of my biggest rivals as a fan. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm sure he's going to do great there for him. I'm a little interested to see how he fits into that midfield system. You know, he is more of an attacking midfielder, and that's not traditionally how they've really set up. But, you know, it looks like they might be going into a bit of a different direction tactically this season. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. And I think that Szoboszlai is going to be a transfer that really helps to reshape the tactical profile of this Liverpool team. So, I don't know. This is a big one for Klopp. He has to get this right. He has to get this right. So, another interesting attacking midfielder move in the Prem. We got James Maddison going to Tottenham. And this one honestly just made me happy personally because I've been following Maddison's career since he was a championship player, ripping it up down there. I remember the comparisons between him and Mount and Grealish as far as who was the best young attacking English midfielder in that league at the time. And it was just a really fun era to kind of watch these players all come up and go in their different directions and ball out. And Maddison has finally got that big move that the other two have already kind of had. And he's now finally playing at one of the solidified big teams in England, and I hope that he balls out. I think it's a great replacement finally for Eriksen. They finally got around to getting a genuine, really top-level attacking midfielder, Premier League proven. I think it's a great signing overall, and I hope he does well at Spurs. More Premier League midfielder signings. There's been a lot of movement going on. It's Sandro Tonali to Newcastle, and this is kind of almost on the same vibes as the Saudi Pro League stuff, where it's a bit unfortunate to me to see a player that was becoming such a loved player at Milan. I believe he was going to go on to be the club captain, and then to see him kind of give all that up for a team that's definitely building in Newcastle, but it's like they barely got back into the top 4 competition this previous season, you know? So just seeing him kind of give up on that tradition and all that stuff for it's just a bit of a bummer, and I hope that this doesn't become too much of a trend we see continuing with the whole English Super League thing. You know, I don't know, the whole money spread across these European leagues. It's been kind of a topic throughout these transfer videos, and I just don't think you can ignore it when you're looking at these moves like this. Now, looking at it from just a purely footballing perspective, I think it's a really great signing. I mean, he's going to really help with their transitional play, breaking down low blocks with his passing ability. He's not necessarily the defender I think a lot of people think he is, but he's not, like, awful at it. Like, I just think that him next to Joelinton is really going to have to be a partnership where you've got someone with a higher work rate, someone more willing to play that Benacer role. That was his kind of partner at Milan. And I think there's a way to make it work, but it's just not the exact signing I think some of the mainstream media thinks it is, but it's still a really good player nonetheless. He just offers something different to what his FIFA stats say, basically. So moving on to another one, we got Nico Jackson going from Villarreal to Chelsea, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about this guy. I haven't seen too much of him. I looked up some of his numbers. He looks like he's really effective in one-on-one situations with his dribbling. It looks like he has a pretty good eye for goal. You know, it could have just been a purple patch, or maybe this guy's the real deal. We're gonna have to wait and see, but it's definitely an interesting signing, and I just threw it in there because he seems like a kind of out of nowhere wonder kid, a fun one, and I'm interested to see how he does in the Premier League. So yeah, let's keep an eye on this guy, I guess. Now this next one is just another instance of Brighton being so incredibly smart in the transfer window, and that's João Pedro going to Brighton. I think that's a great signing for them. He's such a technically gifted player, so good in those tight spaces, and I think at Watford, it just never fully clicked with the way that they play and the attributes that he offers. And I think that this Brighton team is much more suited to his play style. I can't wait to see if he's coming in off of the wing or playing down the middle. I think he'll work either way, and I just think he's going to be a really fun player to watch, linking up with players like Matoma and stuff in that team. Like, he's definitely going to have a lot of really fun highlight moments, some beautiful goals. I can't wait to watch it. And Brighton, man. Brighton, good job. Another one of those kind of low-key young players is Felix Mecha. I'm not really sure if I pronounced that right, but he had an older brother, Lucas, who was also another one of these kind of young wonder kids. And I think because his older brother didn't quite pan out, Felix doesn't quite get the hype that he deserves. And I think that he's been doing a great job at Wolfsburg. You know, he seems like a really, really fun young attacking midfielder. Definitely has that typical, you know, Bundesliga work rate that you would expect. And I think him going to Dortmund is a great signing for them. And I just really can't wait to see how he kicks on, linking up with the likes of Gio Reyna, Karim Adeyemi. It's just another one of those really smart Dortmund signings that you expect to see. And he's definitely going to get some football. You know, I just can't wait to see how it turns out. You know, look at the progression we saw from Julian Brandt recently. Like, that's not something we were expecting this. I certainly wasn't. And so he's one of these guys that I think just could, out of nowhere, kind of click with everything. And I'm really excited to see how that works out. Roma. Oh my. You guys are killing it in the transfer window, man. Another free signing, another mid-20s hyped up French player, Evan Ndika, who was at one point was one of the most hyped up young center backs in the Bundesliga. Huge physical profile and a great technical ability for someone at his size. That's a really, really top signing from Roma, solidifying that defense, which was already really strong under the tutelage of the special one, of course. And so, yeah, I just think, again, another great signing from Roma. They're making it work on that lower budget that a lot of these Italian teams are having to deal with. And overall, yeah, I'm just excited to see how they continue to kick on. So cheers to Roma, hats off. The final two confirmed transfers I'm talking about today are from the big boys in Spain, FC Barcelona and Real Madrid. We're starting in Barca with İlkay Gündoğan, and this is one I've really gone back and forth with. When I first saw the announcement, my initial reaction was honestly that this was not a good signing. I feel like Barca continue to sign these attacking eights basically that can play a similar style and similar role to what they already get from Pedri and Gavi. And I understand you need rotation, but these are two of your best young players and they keep signing, you know, Kessié and all these other players that are just so similar. De Jong kind of plays in a similar role he can. I feel like they're really just going in the wrong direction with some of these signings rather than shoring up the defense, getting in the next Lewandowski replacement for a couple years down the line. I guess they did bring in Vitor Roque, but just kind of, yeah, prove myself wrong there. But anyways, I feel like it was just a weird way to, you know, start off the transfer window for them, bringing in someone who they have similar profile players. This is why I say I've gone back and forth with it, because I did end up seeing a piece from The Athletic on it where they talked about just how tactically diverse and effective Gündoğan has been in different roles and positions at City. And it made it make more sense. You know, he can plug gaps at the 6 for, you know, obviously Busquets is gone now, so they might need minutes there. He can obviously do really well at the 8, but he can also play more advanced in a more attacking midfield role. And so overall, he can just plug all of these different gaps. He's so tactically diverse, and he gets it. Like, his IQ is so high. And so I think it does make sense overall. You know, it's maybe not the best signing of the summer, but it's definitely a strong signing. It adds a lot of... So what you guys just saw right there was the precise moment that my card ran out of space on my camera. And so the entire ending to this video that I shot is just gone. Because I love y'all, because I love the grind, I'm back. We back. I'm re-recording this, and yeah, we power through it. So as I was saying, İlkay Gündoğan, I was going into something I believe about how he can fill into a variety of different roles at Barcelona, which I believe does make him a good signing because he's tactically diverse, is a leader of a player, high IQ, and yeah, I'm about to do this again. He is genuinely a really tactically diverse player, though. He can fill into those different roles, and he has the IQ to do it at a high level. You know, it's not just about your technical attributes, it's understanding what the coach is asking you to do, and he's clearly shown the ability to do that at City, and so I think he's going to be a really valuable player at Barca for the next 1 or 2 seasons. So overall, good signing. So another confirmed signing that I actually forgot that I was supposed to talk about, but I'm glad that we're able to do this now, is Vitor Roque going to Barcelona. That's now confirmed, and that's what I was talking about with the whole Lewandowski replacement, you know, someone that could kind of fill that role in the future. And that's exactly what this guy hopefully is going to end up being. You know, it's a really talented young Brazilian player from the Brazilian league going to Barcelona. Where have we seen that before? And for that exact reason, because that's one of the big signings that made me fall in love with the game in the first place, I am super, super excited to see how this guy turns out. And I really hope he's a baller, because I just love the Brazilian Wonderkids going to La Liga. That whole thing is great. And yeah, let's hope that he tears it up over there, because the vibes are strong. The vibes are strong. And the final confirmed signing that I wanted to get into was Arda Güler going to Real Madrid. Now, this guy is a super talented young Turkish player that really just kind of came out of nowhere at Fenerbahce. And it really interesting numbers, 0.7 goal contributions per 90 for someone who was like 19 or 20, something like that. So definitely a poppin' wonder kid. I'm excited to see how it turns out at Real Madrid. Again, kind of similar with the Brazilian players going to Spain. It's just, I love wonder kids from obscure nations that we don't get them from super often. And so a young Turkish kid going to Real Madrid, absolutely, sign me up. I hope he goes crazy. So those were all of the confirmed signings that I wanted to cover. Now we're going to go ahead and get into some rumors. These are, you know, some of them are further along than others, but most of these are looking pretty confirmed. So I want to go ahead and throw these in there as more or less confirmed signings, starting with Christian Pulisic. So the part of this that is more or less confirmed is that he's pretty much for sure leaving Chelsea. That part of it looks pretty certain. It's where he's going to end up that's still up in the air. It looks like Milan have taken the lead over Lyon in that race, which I'm not too sure how to feel about that. As a fan of the national team, I really need this guy to start playing some consistent minutes at the club level. That's the only way we're going to see him continue to kick on in his development, and he's so important for us as American soccer, football fans, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know. A move to Milan scares me, knowing that he's going to be competing with Rafael Leao to get on that left wing, which is where he's shown to play his best football. I guess we could see him playing off of the right over there, but I just don't know if that's him, man. So I would have personally rather seen him go to Lyon, a team where he can kind of just walk into that starting 11 and get some consistent minutes, but we'll see what happens. And please, Christian, play some football. That's all I need from you, man. I need it. That guy stresses me out, man. Speaking of being stressed out, our next player is Andre Onana, which, of course, as a United fan, I'm just really hoping that we get this guy through the door. He's a really talented keeper. He plays the kind of football that Ten Hag wants to play. He's got the shot-stopping ability. He's young, you know, he ticks all the boxes. And so I just really think this is a guy that we need to get through the door. I do agree with our fan base online. Most people I've seen say that we should be prioritizing a striker, but that deal doesn't look like it's going to be done super easily. And so in the meantime, if we can get a #1 goalkeeper through the door, that is a hugely important position, and I definitely think we should do it. So let's get this deal done, United, and I want to see Onana holding up that shirt soon. Next up, we're looking at Pau Torres, who looks pretty confirmed to be going to Aston Villa at this point. And I'm just talking about this because Villa continue to keep making these great signings, these smart signings. Unai Emery is really building something over there, and this is definitely one of the teams to watch for me this season. Adding a super solid defender, left-footed, good physical frame. He again ticks a lot of the boxes that you want in the Premier League right now for a center back, and so I think it's a really interesting signing. I'm pretty sure he has experience working with Emery, if my timelines are correct, with him being at Villarreal, so that should also help out the situation as well. And yeah, I'm excited to see this signing. Really good player. So the last one I wanted to talk about on here is, I'm really happy about this one. It's Victor Gyökeres, and he got his move to Sporting Lisbon, playing in the Europa League next season. And the reason why I'm so happy about this is because I told you so. If you guys have seen my Wonderkids series, where I talked about some of the big players that I think were going to be making moves this summer from their clubs, some really young talented players, Victor Gyökeres was on that list in our championship episode, and he got his move, and I'm just super happy to see it. You know, this is a really talented young player. He's got such a unique profile for his physical frame being so like stocky and muscular, but his technical ability being so delicate. And so I'm just really intrigued to see how he kicks on, linking up with another one of our wonder kids from the series, Marcus Edwards. And yeah, I'm just excited to see how that team pans out in Europa and in the Portuguese league next season. This is definitely a super exciting front line now, and I hope he tears it up because he's still only, I believe, 24 years old. So a season or two of top level performances in Portugal could see him getting another big move. And so this is definitely one to watch, in my opinion. Victor Gyökeres, congratulations, and I told you so. All right, so for the second time tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. That was all I got for y'all. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna keep covering this stuff, keep following the rumors as best I can, and try to get these videos out in a timely manner for y'all. I want y'all to be up to date on all the movement and all the stuff that's happening, and I want to share my thoughts on it because this is one of the most interesting, fun times of the year for a football fan. And so yeah, I'm gonna be back. You guys know that by now, and that's all I got for y'all for now. So peace.